Hi everyone, we're here with Dr. Sonia Szamocki. She's the CEO of 32 Co. Sonia, thank you for joining us today. How are you?
Thank you for having me. I'm very well, thank you.
Excellent. I thought we'd start this conversation by talking a bit about you, so that everyone listening or watching can, well, I guess if they haven't come across you before, they know who you are and what you're all about.
Yeah, absolutely. So my name is Dr. Sonia Szamocki. I am from the Netherlands originally. I came to the UK, to Oxford about 15 years ago to read medicine. I graduated and I started to work in London in hospitals, primarily in A&E, while running an education business. I then moved into management consultancy. So I went to the Boston Consulting Group for about 4 years, and I spent the last year of that working in health tech startups. So I was building what is now the world's leading app for patients suffering from haemophilia. So that's a little bit about me in my journey, I suppose, up to 32 Co.
Brilliant. So 32 Co. How old is the business? What is it, and how did the idea come about?
Yeah, it's a good question. So I'd say we're about 18 months old. So a relatively young company that's grown very, very quickly. So in essence, we're a health tech platform that enables general clinicians to provide more specialized care for their patients. So we're a platform, a technology platform that's an all-in-one space for dentists who want to start providing clear aligners with confidence. And that's anyone from complete beginners to more experienced providers. The aim is to introduce a new level of clinical rigor, but also ensure that people are providing aligner treatment profitably and in a way that they can enjoy. So it does three things. The first thing it does is it provides all the training that dentists need for free. So that's whether you're a complete beginner or whether you're more experienced, the training is tailored to you. It's delivered through the platform, and it's sort of a next generation in terms of the personalization that we can provide. The second thing that we offer is that dentists can choose to collaborate one-to-one with specialist orthodontists on their clear aligner cases. So that's built into the workflow. That means you're getting the brain power of a top expert in the field, helping you and working together with you on whatever case you might be working on. And the final thing is that we offer dentists an opportunity to buy from the world's first clear aligner marketplace. And that means that they can buy aligners at wholesale prices, essentially from the world's top manufacturers, which we've curated for them to make sure that no matter whether you're doing one case a year or 100, that you're getting the fairest price possible without needing to hit certain targets and without needing to compromise on quality. So that's broadly what the platform does and how we're helping dentists. Because of the way that we're working and the way that we're changing the delivery, I suppose, of clear aligner treatment to patients, we have just announced a partnership with Dental Protection, which I think we'll be talking about a bit. But essentially, that's a recognition of how much we actually help improve patient outcomes with this model and how much we reduce risk for dentists of all levels in their provision of clear aligner treatment.
Fantastic. So, I mean, you've kind of mentioned there, obviously, the partnership with Dental Protection, and yeah, it was something I was going to ask you about later. We saw the news come out from that, I think, a week or two ago. Could you explain a little bit about that partnership and why it's so unique?
Yeah, I think there's been, the clear aligner industry has not actually changed that much since the invention of the clear aligner 25, 30 years ago. What we've seen is the same model being rolled out. So I'm talking here about models that work directly with dentists as opposed to direct consumer models. But essentially, it's a process where you work with a technician, your aligners are manufactured, and that's kind of it. And there have been lots of new brands that have come out, but they haven't innovated on that model. I think what we have done is flipped it on its head and said, really, what do we need to be able to build confidence in clinicians that they can do this no matter where they are in the UK or in the world? Because for a lot of dentists, this is not their bread and butter, right? Orthodontics is something that is quite specialized and not something that you get taught a great deal about at dental school because there just isn't enough time for you to learn in detail all the subspecialties of dentistry. So by flipping the model on its head and saying, well, how can we make the experience for the clinician better? We've built something that's very different. So we're looking at allowing dentists to train, obviously, completely for free, but also integrating that level of expertise that isn't currently available in a really, really personalized way for you and for your patient. And what that's meant is that when you think about what an indemnifier is trying to do, we're really aligned in terms of our goals. We're trying to improve patient outcomes. We're trying to reduce complaints. We're trying to reduce risk. And that's exactly what an indemnifier is trying to do as well. So I think they've been looking for a long time for a way to support that, especially their younger clinicians who really want to get started with clear aligners, because it's a very exciting treatment to be able to offer, and it can be genuinely life-changing for your patients. But to do that safely, because I think the amount of litigation has increased in this area, and I think everybody's aware of that. So what they don't want to do and what we don't want to do is to stop people from doing and scare them off, but rather we're saying let's introduce an extra layer of clinical rigor. Let's train you properly. Let's make sure you have the expertise that you need at your fingertips, and let's make sure that that results in you and your patients having a better experience. So that's why we're the only clear aligner platform to have this partnership. And we're obviously really excited to be working with them and to be able to offer their members essentially priority access to our courses, which are very oversubscribed, to give them that little extra benefit.
Fantastic. So, I mean, you've spoken obviously quite in depth already about a lot of the benefits that 32 Code can provide to dentists. So, I mean, are there kind of any other benefits as well? Obviously, I mean, free training. I mean, it doesn't get, I suppose, much better than that, really, especially for someone who's kind of entering the world of clear aligners for the first time. And yeah, what would you also say to kind of anyone who feels that they've provided clear aligners for years and perhaps they haven't got anything else to learn? What would you say to them?
Yeah, I think we take quite a bespoke approach to different clinicians. I come from healthcare, right? I was a clinician. I was a junior doctor. I know what it's like to be working and to be looking for expertise in helping my patients. I definitely didn't know everything, but the advantage for me as a clinician in hospital is that I had specialists available in front of me. I could just walk up to them and say, hey, I've got patient X. What do you reckon? What should I do here? But dentists don't have that until essentially that's what we've built. But it means that depending on where you are in your journey, you're going to need different levels of input from us to get you to whatever the next level is for you. So for a complete beginner, what you need is to be taken step by step through the basics of clear aligner, orthodontics, and treatment planning, and really get back to the basics in terms of the theory in order for you to feel confident even taking on your first patient. So that's what we focus on in our starter course. And that it's not an easy course. I mean, it's 4 weeks and it takes a lot of work. But for us, there's no shortcuts to actually learning this properly. And even in those 4 weeks, we're not turning you into an orthodontist overnight, but we are giving you the foundations to be able to get going, and we're holding your hand through your first case. Now, on the other end of the spectrum, as you say, what if I'm really experienced already with aligners? Well, look, most people that we speak to who are really experienced will say, well, I still feel like I'm learning every day. Most of them tell us that they kind of learned by trial and error. They might have been on some courses, but most of the learning was done by just treating patients, probably making the odd mistake along the way and learning from that. And they've developed more respect, I think, for orthodontics. And so when we offer them the advanced training, they thoroughly look forward to it and are very keen to get going. So that's learning about things like using auxiliaries and elastics and all the extra bits and bobs that you can add to clear aligner treatment to start treating more complex cases. And obviously for every dentist, what we want to try and do is democratize access to high quality, affordable aligners, so the devices themselves. We've always said that when it comes to good clear aligner treatment, the most important thing is the treatment plan. You're not getting anywhere unless you've designed those tooth movements and that they're going to work and they're going to be safe. Now, once you've got that, you can work with any high quality clear aligner manufacturer that you like and make your decisions about, your trim lines and your materials that you use. But what we do is make sure that we pool essentially all of our dentists' orders, all of the buying power that they have together. And we're able to broker really good deals with those manufacturers for our dentists, even from the first day that they sign up. So at the moment, a young dentist coming into this market is to some extent excluded from the good pricing. So they're competing with people down the road who are getting massive discounts on their lab bills. And it really means that it's very difficult to get started. So what we're trying to do is make it fairer for everybody and say that everybody should get the same low prices. Clear aligner treatment isn't just an aesthetic cosmetic treatment. There are lots of functional benefits as well. You should be able to add this to your armory of skills as a dentist. And if price and lab bills are in the way, then we're trying to remove those barriers for people.
Excellent. So you're evening the playing field for everyone.
We hope so.
Fantastic. So I wanted to also just ask about kind of how the idea came about, and also what the user journey would be like. So if someone was to kind of visit your website for the first time and I guess kind of start the process of joining up and kind of making an order and getting involved in the training. I mean, what's the order of things? How does that work?
Yeah, let me start with that because that's quite easy to answer. So we've done everything we can to make it a really slick and efficient process. So, we have a very, very large tech and product team who spend their days obsessing about making our dentists' lives easier from a product and technology perspective. So when they sign up, you should be contacted pretty much immediately to get your account set up. We verify in the background your details and that you are a real dentist. And then you'll be taken through a kind of personalized journey depending on what you want to do. So if you're a complete beginner, you'll usually be invited to join our starter course, which is that 4-week course that I mentioned. And we have new cohorts starting every few weeks. Then if you're already an experienced provider and you're confident, then your account is unlocked for you and you can start to treat patients and access the marketplace and access the specialist support the very next day. So one of the bits of feedback that we get from dentists who join us is that it's so easy to get going. The product is so intuitive. It's so clear what to do next that hopefully the technology does a lot of the work for us, but we have a really big customer support team and clinical support team as well, who can answer the questions that we almost certainly know that you're going to have, depending on what level of experience you come in with. So it's a very easy journey for people to get started. And really the main way to get going is just to go to the website, www.32co.com and click get started. So the second question you asked is, where did the idea come from? And I think this stems from my background, as I said, as a clinician, working in the kinds of environments that I described, which was being relatively junior and absolutely knowing that I didn't know everything, and seeing the increasing specialization of healthcare. So more and more specialties, more subspecialties. And then on the other side, working in health tech, seeing just how much was changing in the market, right? New devices, new innovations, new drugs. Every 5 minutes, there's something cool, new, specialized, and interesting. And I think what struck me is that as a generalist clinician, which is what the majority of the clinical workforce are, doctors and dentists, not most people don't work in a specialist center, are not specialists. It's very difficult to be able to offer that new and specialized treatment to your patients because it's not something you would have learned back at medical or dental school. And yet you are in some ways expected to almost be an expert in everything, which is simply not possible. So what that ends up resulting in is patients who need that more specialized treatment, who end up going through very tortuous referral pathways and into big systems where they're trying to find the right provider for them who has that level of expertise. So for me, it was a question of, can you turn that around? Rather than getting the patient to travel to the expert, to some specialist center somewhere, can you switch it around so that the expert comes to the patient? And can we get clinicians to collaborate with each other and share that knowledge? So the generalist has the breadth of knowledge across multiple different areas in dentistry, let's say, and then the specialist goes very deep in one area. And if you get those people to work together, you're kind of unlocking superpowers in both. So that's really the origin of the idea, and why dentistry was so made so much sense to sort of prove this out, is that orthodontics, and especially adult orthodontics with clear aligners, has seen an explosion in demand. I mean, we all dentists will know that putting the teeth in the right place is advantageous for lots of reasons, but now we've got patients coming through the door saying, I would actually really like to have my teeth straightened. So you've got all of this demand from patients. But when you ask the average dentist, how confident do you feel in terms of your orthodontic skills, very few of them will say, I feel really good. A lot of dentists don't touch clear aligners because they just feel like it's just that extra level of specialty that they haven't actually been able to learn. For some people who do clear aligner treatment, it might be that they're limiting their cases to sort of the more simple, maybe moderate cases, and not taking on anything complex. So having something that would allow the general clinician to be able to just say, yes, I can treat you to any patient, was really the goal in and thereby kind of unlocking the potential of that clinician, but also allowing patients who really need this treatment and want this treatment to get it through their local trusted provider.
Brilliant. So I will ask as well, while everyone's still watching and listening, you've mentioned your website earlier, but I'll ask you for that again as well. Where can everyone find you and follow you online? And that goes for yourself as well as 32Co.
Yes, so probably best way to reach me is on LinkedIn, and that's just my full name. And for anyone interested in learning more, the website is www.32co.com, and we're also on Instagram at 32co_UK as well.
Brilliant. We'll include links in the episode description as well, so that everybody can find those right away. But just one quick question as well. What's 32Co? How did the name come about?
Yeah, it's a really good question. We get asked that a lot. I think what we wanted to do is to make sure that the name reflected our customer. And for us, our customer is the clinician, right? It's the dentist. And not the patients. And even though the patient ultimately is the beneficiary, we really focus everything that we do on making our dentists' lives better. So 32 is a bit of a nod to the dentist, obviously 32 teeth in the mouth, but it's not something that the general public really really would pick up, but every dentist obviously knows. So it's sort of I don't want to say it's a hidden message, but it's a little nod to them. And then co, there's a lot of things that we do that stem from words starting with co, including collaboration, building confidence, and building communities. So that's kind of where the name came from.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much, Sonia. I think that's a great way to end it. And we'll hope to speak with you again soon.
Thank you, James. Thank you for having me.